I want to welcome you and I want to ask you if you can hear me. Please drop me a yes on the chat if you can hear me. Welcome, Celine. Welcome, Kavaya, Burr, Herbie. If you can hear me, go ahead and drop me a yes. All right, let me get with it with the introduction. So before we get started, Vantage, this is a disclosure. The information, context, opinions which are expressed in the presentation and on the following slides are solely those of the presenter and not necessarily those of Vantage, and are solely used for educational purposes, as they do not constitute investment advice and or consultation on how a client should trade. Vantage does not guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information provided herein. So you can take a look at this risk disclosure here. About me, I'm a senior VIP market analyst, market educator, and demonstrator of strategies with Vantage. I bring about 20 years of experience as a commodities trader, and I hold a Series 3 license, and I'm also CMT candidate. Now, what are we going to be taking a look at today? Well, we're going to be taking a look at the economic every single day. Whenever there's obviously relevant news, we're going to be looking at the economic calendar, what's moving the markets, identifying key support levels, resistance, support, and trading with the Fibonacci tools. Just to start, every single day we have something different. Well, real quick about Vantage. We all know that the markets we offer over 1,000 instruments, over 100 chart patterns, technical indicators, and drawing tools. So we trade Forex indices, shares, commodities, cryptos. And what we stand for, we have lightning fast execution, award-winning our support, and tools. All right, so let me start sharing now the charts so we can get with the program. Hold on for a second. All right. So now you should be looking at my charts. All right. So let's get with it real quick. Let's take a look at the economic calendar for today. So today, what do we have? Basically, nothing in the economic front. But tomorrow, we'll have the ISMS services for the US. And on Wednesday, we'll have Australian numbers. So basically, this week is going to be a calm week in regards to economic news. Well, let's take a look at the charts. Before that, let's take a look at what news we could be. Go back into doing. Let me get, sorry about that. I'm just gonna go back to the economic calendar. So let's take a look at the calendar. Only we have tomorrow ISMM services PMI for tomorrow, and then the rest of the week for the US is going to be quite quiet. So going back into the charts, since we already kind of started. So I was telling you about taking a look at what happened last week, which it ain't what you don't know that that gets you into trouble. Is what you know for sure that just ain't so. So it's a relevant piece of wisdom and generally attributed to Mark Twain as markets reassesses their convictions on the health of the U.S. economy. So last Friday, we saw a weaker than expected July jobs report, and that would have been a shock on its own. But the caveat is cuts to unemployment figures for the two preceding months that casts more doubt over previously optimistic views of the labor market. And so President Trump's subsequent firing of the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that raised a lot of questions about how jobs data will be presented in the future. So it's the Federal Reserve that has to deal with the fallout. Now, traders are now betting Fed, your own Powell and colleagues will put aside concerns about tariffs-driven inflation and start reducing interest rates in September, pricing in a nearly 80% chance of a cut. Now, that particular scenario could be pricing into, obviously, into the markets. And that would be for September. Now, August, talking about the history of markets, August for the markets is pretty cool. It's a pretty, it could be sideways trading. Now, they're just hopping into an analysis for the market. So looking at the Nasdaq 100 in this daily candlestick chart, we can come in and see that each day, besides Friday, which it opened high, but it closed lower. The preceding day on last week, they all opened high and closed low, open high and close low, open high. Okay, they did swing high, but close low, open high, close low. Now, I want to bring your attention into one particular candle that was on Thursday. So we could see this basically a bearish engulfing candle that engulfed all of the entire week's fluctuation. So this could be concerned, or this could be taken look as a consolidation stage. And the market, we're seeing how it's been rebounding today after actually opening gap down. So can we come in and speculate that the market will come and recuperate what was moved from the movement from Friday after such a bad news and jobs report? That could be an essence. So in reality, we could come in and start looking at the values that are psychological. So in front of us, we have the NASDAQ. In the background, we have the Bollinger Bands, and we have the medium, which is a 20-day moving average. And it sits right around a psychological value of 23,200. So that, for me, tells me that could be a place of interest where obviously sellers will be looking to sustain the price move even higher. So that will be a cool place for us to come in and use that as a possible level of resistance. Now, coming towards even further movement to the upside, well, what can we use to say that the market will continue to move higher? Well, another value, psychological value, in looking towards our left, we could see that this area, this zone right here, previously was a level of resistance. The market did come towards that level, and it was rejected. Not once, twice, three, four, until it had a breakout, the previous week. So that right there could be another level of interest for us to come in and use that as a possible level of resistance for today. Now, when it comes to retracements or when it comes to levels of support, well, we can come in and also use previous levels where the market is trading at now, where it opened, right? So the market opened today at 22,848. So at the 22,848 level, if you take a look and let's just add, for argument's sake, a line here. Well, we see here that this level, previously the market has rebounded off of it several times. So from here, what can we use as a possible level of support? Well, let's come in and use our favorite retracement tool. And we could use this previous low, right, to that swing high. Well, in that sense, it wouldn't work well on this scenario. So let's do Friday's move. All of Friday's move. Okay, well, it's retraced towards our Fibonacci. Will it come down towards it? Will it continue to retrace deeper into the golden proportion, and then from here drop again? That could be a place, right? That could be in a scenario. Now, let's just also, in regards to identifying levels of support, well, the Bollinger Band, the lower band, can be used as a possible level of support. And we have here our 50-day moving average. Well, if we continue to experiment selling pressure, well, why not come in and test out those levels, those moving averages? That's what their job is about, and their dynamic level of support. So that's for the NASDAQ. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. So the S&P 500, again, also in consolidation stage. Now, We will see again 6,500 being met this month. Perhaps down the road, we'll see more movement, appreciation of the market. So in this scenario, if you look at the medium, the 20-day moving average of the Bollinger Bands, take a look at to your left. You see this particular zone right here, this level right here, this previous level. I call this a volume cluster because basically market participants did came to around this level. It was rejected several times. And now we have a confluence, a moving average within that volume cluster. So why not use that level, that area, as a possible level of where previous resistance, right? We come up towards again. So it makes sense to use that level or that area as a possible level of resistance for the market. And then the next part, okay, well, where the market also came down towards and found that particular support after making a swing high. Well, the market made a swing high, and this level around here, around 6,400, is where the market actually came and rejected that level and bounced off of it and stayed within consolidation around that level again. So it's just psychological values. We don't need to obviously come in and find more reasoning. Just psychological. The market was there before. Well, now it's another level, previous support. It turns into a possible level of resistance. Then as support comes, well, again, let's use those moving averages. In this case now is the lower Bollinger Band that we can come in and use as a possible level of support. And the 50-day moving average that also comes towards us, right? Now, if we want to come in and use a tool that could show us how much of an extension of this previous move could be, well, that will be the trend-based fib extension. Let's use the swing high, Friday swing high, right? And then we're going to use the second level is where the market made today's swing low, and then the previous swing high or today's swing high. So in this case, we can come in and see that the market, the golden proportion, it's sitting right around there. It's sitting basically where we shows is the lower Bollinger Band, and the 100% is at the 50-day moving average. So a confirmation of that we have selected our levels correct. So if we say that this movement is going to extend, well, that's what the trend extension tool is for. So we measure the whole movement, all right? The tool will show us using the Fibonacci values where that extension could be lead to, basically based on the movement that we've seen so far today. So that could be a place, and that's what we previously have selected. So let's go into the next one. Let's go into the Dow. So we basically initially we're gonna come in, and prior to the bell opening, which it'll open in about 15 minutes, we want to be able to come in and use that zone. Hold on for 1 second. Let me see something. If I can do something real quick. Hold on for 1 second. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen real quick. Let me just get something steady here. Let me get something going here real quick before we get going even further. Hold on for a second. All right. Hold on for 1 second. Let me just get something real going here for you. All right, cool. All right. Let me get back into sharing the screen. All right. So, like I was saying, now we into the Dow Jones Industrials. So basically, before the bell opens, I want to be able to have identified those levels of support and resistance, and then we'll drop into taking a look at what trades we can come in and find. So taking a look at the Dow, we saw that the Dow actually made that pretty much that swing high a week ago, basically. That's Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. So a week ago, the market actually made that swing high. From there, it has just been, tremendously on a downtrend, higher lows, lower highs. It's identified as a particular downtrend. The market today on Friday made that swing low, and that's what we're going to be using today as our possible level of support for the Dow. Now, the 50-day moving average in this case is below the market, so we can't use that today. And the lower Bollinger Band actually is right at the market, so we don't want to be able to use those levels. Now, since we also understand that we can use the golden proportion, and that we also understand that if we understand about the Fibonacci numbers and its sequence, we understand that in technical analysis, the value, and I'm just gonna put in here the tool just for reference of the tool for the values. So it is said that if the market is going to continue its trend, its trajectory, and in this scenario that the market is in a downtrend, on a healthy, strong trend, the 38.20% of which is 0.382% value, Fibonacci value, is a value where the market should come towards and then fluctuate back down. So the market, we can expect that the market will fluctuate, retrace, make from this lower move, retrace back up to the 38.20%, and from here, then it'll drop. So we can come in and use that particular level as a resistance in this case. And then since we have the 20-day moving average right above the market and above our first level of resistance, let's use that as our second. So therefore, that we have identified our resistance level using particularly the retracement tool. So if it does retraces here, then we can come in and expect, if this movement is going to continue, we can come here and expect that the market will usually come in and find sellers to push the market down. We find our swing low from Friday as our first level of support, and then if we contract the market, we could come in here and identify that actually this level, or if you want to call it this doji, after a market fluctuation to the upside, it can be used. So we could come in and use that as a possible level of support for the Dow for today. So therefore, we have that movement. We have that identified our second level of support based on history. Crude oil. Well, crude oil, it has opened gap down and it has been closed. So the direction of the movement, it will continue. Basically, when you have a gap down, one way, yes, it means that the market found this biggest order when it opened around here, and then it fluctuated to the upside just to close out all of the other orders that might have been missed. But the movement the trajectory is lower. By taking a look at this daily candlestick to the left, we see how this particular level around here, 65.80, can be a possible level of support initially. The market did rejected it, so let's use this level, and then the lower Bollinger Band as a possible level of support, which is right around 65, a psychological value, right? You see that? Well, actually, let's make it a 65 psychological value. So that's our next level of support. So one thing that you also want to keep in mind is that there's a correlation between crude oil and NASDAQ. So if the market crude oil is dropping, then we could most likely will see that fluctuation to the upside on the NASDAQ, and that's basically what we're seeing so far today. So that will be a scenario for us to keep in mind, that if we do continue to see that the crude oil, the WTI contract, continues to fluctuate lower, breaking our levels of support and reaching towards that psychological value, then you will see an increment or a rise, obviously, in the NASDAQ. So we find our two levels of support for the crude oil. Then let's identify a level of resistance. So $68 was penetrated. So let's just use today's swing high after that gap down as a possible. We need to see that the market does recuperate and is able to have a strong fluctuation to the upside to come in and actually revisit that high from today. The next level of resistance, taking a look back towards our left. Well, here, this area, this zone right here, again, jumps at me. Basically, why? Because the market did, on a day, it opened at that same level. It closed a previous day at that level and then opened at that level, and it closed lower. So that tells me that there's resistance there. The market did fluctuate higher, so we can use that as a possible level of resistance, a previous level. And that's just my mechanics. You could have your own mechanics, but I'm just sharing my mechanics with you and see how that will work out. Then we have Nat Gas. Let's take a look at Nat Gas. So Nat Gas as well, it opens gap down. Even though the doji balanced out on Friday, but this doji shows that. But obviously today it has been closed, so the direction of the market should be looking lower. So taking a look back, let's use Thursday swing low as a possible level of support, and then let's just use the lower Bollinger Band. Now, why should we be taking a look? Why should NatGas continue to move lower? Remember that supposedly Trump made a deal with the EU for $750 billion in energy. If he wants to make that deal, then more likely, but you gotta sell it to us cheaper than what the market is at today. So most likely we'll following that, that mechanic, or that making sense that yes, you want to have a lower or more economical value for nat gas for exports to a country, or actually to so many different countries. You will want to see a lower value of nat gas. So that doji, I'm going to use that doji as a possible level of resistance initially, and then looking back a level, maybe we can use the wicks, right, as a level of possible level of resistance, or we could also use what the candles open and closed, and how many candles does this level touches prior. So it touches 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, actually 7, almost 8. Now, if we do, you can either use the wicks or right around the openings, which is basically where it shows. So here we have our levels of resistance support for nat gas. Today, looking to sell the energies. Gold. So let's take a look at gold. So gold had a parabolic movement on Friday after obviously that drop on the US dollar index after a jobs report coming out. So that's a particular strong move. Here, using the trend-based fib extension, let's measure the whole move on Friday to today's swing high and today's swing low. Here we have, obviously we want to be using what? Our Fibonacci values. So initially that 38.20%, and then the golden ratio, which is just around a psychological value. So if we are expecting this movement on gold, even after it opened gap up, it's being closed. The market did came and close it. So the momentum to the upside, RSI is far away from being overbought. So let's take a look at being bullish at today's movement in the gold market. So as far as support levels goes, right? Well, the 20-day moving average, or the medium of the Bollinger Band, was rejected. So it wasn't even touched. It was basically rejected. So let's use that. And then let's use the 50-day moving average as a possible level of support. So looking for buy, looking to be long on gold. Let's take a look at silver. Silver didn't have as much of parabolic movement as gold did on Friday, but hey, today's fluctuation, it did make, after it opened, it did make a swing low, basically engulfing Friday's movement, but it was rejected by the 50-day moving average. So let's use that as a possible level of support, right? And looking to a buy. In the second level of support, well, let's use Friday's swing low as a possible level of support. Now, as resistance, well, again, we can use our tool, right? from here to today's swing and see how much of this movement are we going to be able to see into continuation. Well, that's not going to help us out much because we are basically in that range. So it's not going to help us, that tool. So now we're going to have to come in and look the old way, looking at previous swing lows like such, and matching a level of interest or psychological value, 37.5 initially, 37.5, right around there, and then the medium of the Bollinger Bands. For some reason we use it, 20-day moving average. Will this fluctuation to the upside be strong enough for us to come in and penetrate all of these previous moves? Well, let's see. We'll find that out later on. So cautiously bullish on silver. Cautiously, that we could see move to the downside. All right, so copper. All right, copper is in consolidation mode. It's basically looking to sustain itself north of the levels I had placed on Friday. So I'm gonna leave them there. Obviously, I mean, actually, I'm gonna tighten up our first level, and I'm gonna use Thursday swing low, which is basically Friday swing low, and then I 420 as my second. As far as resistance goes, well, looking at a previous swing from this movement, such a strong movement to the downside on previous Wednesday, let's use that as a possible level, and then let's use Wednesday's open as a second level, as a possible level of resistance. Look, copper could make a nice swing to the upside and recuperate. It did open with a tiny gap up, but it's basically consolidating. So anything could happen in copper. I'm actually will stay out of it. I don't see any strong move. It's just building up for now. Now Bitcoin. All right, so Bitcoin, it was basically the previous week. It was in a consolidation range. It was just what I call a coconut. All right, so the market has opened. We opened the market. The market just opened. The US market open. So let's take a look, continue at Bitcoin and the levels that we could probably use for today. The 50-day moving average, the lower Bollinger Band is going to be used as a tight level. The medium, the 20-day moving average, the medium, and the 116. So looking for Bitcoin to recover and make a move to the upside, looking to buy Bitcoin today. Then we have the currencies. Let's take a look at the currencies. So the euro, strong parabolic movement on Friday, came in and was rejected from a level of resistance. So today the market has bounced off the 50-day moving average. So therefore, let's use that as a possible first level of support for the euro, and then 115 psychological value, 115. As far as resistance goes, well, let's use the 20-day moving average, which is basically sitting there at 117. 117. We will have such a strong move to the upside. Well, let's see if the market does come in and rejects again the 50-day moving average and finds another bid or another leg up for the euro. So looking to buy the euro. Then we have the pound. The pound basically has open gap up. It has been closed. So let's just use that particular swing low as a possible level of support, right? And then the lower Bollinger Band as a second level of support. As far as resistance goes, I'm going to use 134.5 as a first level of resistance, right? And then the second, I'm going to use that particular swing high. Maybe take this off. That particular swing high as our second level. So looking to buy, and then we'll see how much of that movement will be met as we see that the dollar index, if it'll drop. Right now, the dollar index is sitting above the 50 moving average. So I'm gonna wait and see if it drops. So I'm gonna use the 20-day moving average medium as my first level of support, and then 97.5 as my second level of support. 99 psychological value, and then the upper Bollinger Band for the dollar index. So as we see that the dollar index drops, if we do happen to see dollar index just making a move to the downside, doing something like this, then we could probably just see another move higher on the asset. So let's go back now and take a look at what we can come in, identify as possible trades set up today. So let's go down to 1 hour and see where or what can we come in and identify as a possible level or possible movements. So we see that the market was basically in that coffin of congestion with during that hour. So it made this range and it broke out. Initially, our first levels obviously is going to be the upper Bollinger Band. Well, that's going to be our first level of resistance, so our first target, 23,126. As we fluctuate, penetrate that upper Bollinger Band, then our next level, our next target will be the 50-day moving average, 23,150, and then coming towards our first level of resistance, 23,200. So being bullish so far, let's take an even deeper dive into a 5-minute chart and see how the market is actually already above, obviously, our upper Bollinger Band. So that particular level could be used as a possible level of support. If we do see a pullback, will the market come all the way down towards that particular band and then from here rebound? Or are we going to continue to move higher towards that first level in that 1 hour of 23,150? RSI in this, obviously in this chart and in this time frame, is volatile, is overbought, but we have momentum to the upside. So 23,150 is our target initial target for today. Let's take a look at the S&P. All right, again, let's go back down to an hour chart, and the S&P has broken out. All right, is moving higher strongly. Let's take a look at the 5-minute. All right, so initial 6320 in our initial target. Now, will that be enough? If this candle actually opened gap down, right? This is being closed. Will it continue to move higher, or are we gonna come in and do a pullback? No, it is moving higher. So 6220, our target for the S&P. Now the Dow moving 44 initial move, right? We have a high of 44,026. So initial target 44.50. Crude oil, all right, fluctuation to the downside. Initial target 66, psychological value. We do have our first level of support below that, even low. So 66 psychological in this 5-minute chart, moving lower. 66 target, selling. All right, so Nat Gas actually making a fluctuation to the upside. It is trying to penetrate the 20-day moving average within the Bollinger Band. So I did said sell, but it is looking as a rebounding scenario here. But I do continue to look at a sell-off in Nat Gas. All right, gold is retracing in this 5-minute chart. Let's see how much of a retracement will it do. 33.72 could be that level where we can find that retracement and find some buyers here to sustain the price of gold above our 20-day moving average in this 5-minute chart. Let's take a look at an hour real quick and see. It did fluctuate to the upside. It did try to come in towards our level of resistance. So a little bit profit taking could be in place. Let's take a look at silver real quick. Silver. All right, so silver also creating a coffin of congestion, equal highs, equal lows. Let's see if this movement to the downside, if it'll break down. If it does break down, initial target will be our 20-day moving average, 37.2829, and then the 50-day moving average if it continues to fluctuate lower. So it's looking that it's going to break down coming out of this particular level. Copper. So copper is just basically sideways trading, right? Bouncing off our upper Bollinger Band and our moving averages. Let's take a look at what Bitcoin is doing. So Bitcoin did fluctuate to the upside. Nice parabolic movement, looking for that 115 value initially. Because Bitcoin does move by thousands. That's one thing that you want to keep that in mind. Then the euro. All right, so the euro is looking to sustain itself north of the 115,700. The pound fluctuating towards downside, finding support around the 20-day moving average, the medium of the Bollinger Band. And let's see how much of a recuperation is the dollar index looking to do. It did open in this particular candle. It opened gap up, showing us fluctuation to the upside, momentum being raised. 98.5 was rejected, psychological level. So let's see if it'll be able to sustain itself and move higher above that. We have the 50-day moving average sitting above that value, so that could put some pressure on that. Now, if the dollar index continues to move lower and just drops, then we'll see a nice recovery on the currencies. Let's go back to our level of the Nasdaq. All right, so 23,150 has been met. Movement to the upside. Our first level of resistance is where we're looking, obviously, the market to come towards. Now, will that be reached? Obviously, we want it to be there, but at least we have met our first targets. Profit taking is taken to effect. All right, then we have the S&P 63.25 initial target. Overall, long term, our first level of resistance. Dow continues to move higher. 44.80 now, our first level of our first target. Obviously, 44,164 is our resistance, where we should come in and meet some sellers there. Crude oil. All right, so crude oil is looking again to sustain itself between the 20-day moving average, or the medium of the Bollinger Band, and that psychological value of 66. Let's see if this movement to the upside will bring the market, will give the market a rejection around this level, and then just find another swing low to meet this level. If you are a seller of crude oil, and an aggressive one, you could mean and target that swing low that has been met in the last 5 minutes. Nat Gas, all right, so after making that strong move to the upside, it beginning to retrace. So let's see if it'll retrace back all the way back down towards that swing low. 2.96 will be that target if you're looking to sell. Then gold. So gold is basically making a covenant of congestion. You see this basically making equal highs, equal lows. It's a pretty big one. So let's see if it'll sustain itself within this range. All right, 3,374 and 3,378, $4 range. And will it? What would it do? Will it continue to move lower, to move higher? Where would it go? Will it break to the upside? Will it break to the upside? Or what would it do? Or will it just continue to move and go higher? Let's see. Then we have silver again. Let's take a look at silver again once more. So silver, again, making that range. I think it's going to be going sideways. All right, so copper is looking to make a move to the downside. All right, so it's penetrating a 50 moving average. If you were to take a trade, your target will be this lower bottom here around below 440. Then Bitcoin, parabolic movement, rebounding off the 50 moving average. So 114,700 target if you're looking to go long to buy the asset. All right, so because the dollar index must be is catching up a bit, we're seeing pressure to the downside on the euro. So 50 moving average is going to be that level of support, dynamic level of support, and see if it rebound off of that or not. Then the pound. All right, so the pound is penetrating the 20-day moving average. Then let's see if it'll continue to fluctuate lower towards that 50 moving average. And if that will happen, as we see that the dollar index catches another bid and does move a lot above 98.5, it seems to be trying to do so, but it's having a little battle of its own. Take a look at the NASDAQ. All right, target 23,200. We're saying going long, and we're almost there. Listen, we're going towards our first level of resistance that we have identified earlier before the market opened. So that move to the upside is strong. Okay, let's see. We are about 5. All right, so we're getting there. We're getting there. That swing high, 23,195. And this 5-minute chart, we saw that the movement to the upside is healthy. We'll see what you find. I mean, yeah. I mean, do you wanna? If you did open the trade and you waited for the breakout, market open, 15 minutes hasn't passed yet, so we know obviously we allowing the dust to settle, but the market did begin to walk the upper Bollinger Band, and that shows you a strong momentum to the upside. So as the market does come and towards our first level of resistance, 23,200, will the market settle and rebound and retrace back all the way back down to 23,160? That could be another scenario. But as we do penetrate our level of our first level of resistance, the target by the end of the day should be 23,400. So by the end, if this movement, this breakout, this momentum to the upside is sustained by market participants, then as we close above our first level of resistance, then we should come in and speculate that the 23,400 second level of resistance could be met by the end, by the end of the market trading day, obviously. So we have penetrated our first level of resistance. That was our first target for the NASDAQ. We have reached our first level. Let's see if we are able to close above that. Right, the market has fluctuated above it. All right, so the market does fluctuate towards it, does a throwback towards it, and then will continue to move higher. Okay, that's something that we want to be able to come and see. So that higher move initially, can we come in and use our trend-based fib extension? Yes, of course. So let's analyze all of this movement from our breakout point. So when it opened towards where we are today so far and the low of the session. So initially we'll say that the golden ratio is what we should be targeting. So that will give us right around 23,270, right? Initial move or initial values, 2360, 3820. So we can use this as our targets as we see that the market is moving strongly to the upside. We are overbought. Okay, RSI is actually almost 89. So obviously profit taking could be taking place, but this candle hasn't closed yet. We're still 5 minutes into this movement to the upside, and we are basically about to meet our first level of that trend-based fib extension tool. Just obviously we're measuring, we're analyzing all of this move. If this move is going to continue, then we should expect that the market will come in and meet initially of 23.60. And if it's a strong move, as we're considering to be, then it should be our golden ratio. All right, so the first level has been met. That was another level, another target. Our second target now is going to be 3820. Sustaining the trade as you move, as you control your emotions, and these tools will help you do that. They will help you do that right there and then. Okay. Does anybody have any questions so far? If you have a question, feel free to drop your inquiry. So let's see how much we have. 2 minutes left on this candle, right? Let's take a look at the S&P real quick. All right, so again, another move. Let's use our tool. So let's use the open the movement that we're seeing so far. So our target, again, with using our tool, our target initially has been met. Our first Fibonacci sequence number has been met. Our second one is going to be 3820, and the ultimate is our first level of resistance, which basically, using this tool again, is where the golden proportion is sitting, that 61.80 or the 0.618 inverse of the Fibonacci sequence. And you want to use the sequence because, again, the Fibonacci sequence is not man-made, it's man-discovered. Did you know that the from your belly button to your toes or to your head is actually 0.618%? So that's you, and you find nature. So why not use it here in trading? And that's why it's such a strong tool. It's such an important tool. Now, nothing is 100%, right? Nothing is 100%, but we do say that if the market does has a strong, healthy move to the upside, then why wouldn't that continue to move and reach that value? So this candle is about to be finished. So in the Nasdaq, we saw that we said that it was going to move towards our level and then do a throwback, perhaps a throwback or pullback retracement towards what was a level of resistance, now a level of support. And from here, we can expect another continuation to the upside. That could be something that could happen, right? So we having our levels here on the S&P. Let's take a look at the Dow. The Dow actually had a nice move to the upside. That candle has been met. All right, so continuing is walking the upper Bollinger Band. Let's take a look at crude oil. Oh, just sideways trading. Choppiness here. Ooh, choppiness, lots of choppiness here. It's sustaining itself, really. Then, okay, Nat Gas. Again, Nat Gas is just wanting to sustain itself around the 295. All right, so our levels, our support level, which will be our target now, will we see a continuation to the downside on this movement? Well, we first got to be able to trade out of this zone, this area, which is basically this right here. We need to penetrate all of this. All right, to penetrate all of this. Will that happen, or will the asset just stay here and just linger sideways trading? Choppiness. Gold. All right, so gold has been able to sustain, and it broke out of this level of support here. All right, so our first level of resistance has been met. Let's see if we are able to just measure this movement with our tool. All right, so initially 2360 our target if we are going to continue moving that. So the golden proportion could be our next target, or the 38.20%. Let's see. At least we are now, we penetrated our resistance, we violated it. Let's see if we will be able to close above that in this candle. If we are able to close above this level of resistance in this 5 minutes, we can consider that it has done a throwback, and then the trajectory will be obviously like I said, right, and doing something like that. All right. Well, actually, it's doing more than that so far. So targets 3,385. We have said that was now because of this move, right? Actually, come in and just do this right here. So the target 3,385. If you're looking to go long, depending on the lots, hey, that's a nice move, and we basically got to meet it. It's going to be met. Let's see. Moving to the upside, 3,385. We're almost there. And we should be up 385. We kissed it. Been kissed. Actually, the golden ratio is at 385.24. But it was high. It was met. 3,385. Met. Target done. So now where we can come in and analyze, taking a look, since we already have penetrated our level of resistance. Well, 388, 390, 392 is retracing. Let's see how much of the retracement will it do in this particular minute, and we'll find that support, that swing high of that previous session, of the previous candle, could be a level of probable support, or not. I mean, you know, this could probably continue to move higher. Take a look at silver. Yeah, silver is just sideways trading, choppiness. Copper. All right, so copper breaking down. Copper's breaking down. So target the lower Bollinger Band. If it does continue to move lower, 439, which is basically that swing low. Bitcoin. Ooh, that 115 was almost met. It's retracing now. Let's see the currencies. So a 50-day moving average is holding for the currencies. For the euro, it's holding. Let's see if it'll find that those buyers to sustain it here, or will it penetrate this particular level. Is penetrated so far. We have 8 seconds, 7 seconds on this candle. Let's see how much lower will it move, or will it find a support or not. Well, it found support. It bounced off of it. Will that momentum be strong enough to bring it to 158, 115,800? Not. So it's continued to fluctuate lower. So 115,700 could be a level. All right. So choppiness in the currencies, really. The dollar index is just 98.5 is that particular level that is being rejected. So it's making a tighter range. All right, let's go back to our other trades. All right, so we've seen how the market is continuing to move to the upside, walking the upper Bollinger Band. Our second target within this time frame is almost met, right? So initially, our long-term target is going to be our second level of resistance by the end of the day. Could that be possible? Well, as we walk up the trend and hit that particular level here, it could be met. Obviously, we're going to be seeing moments of retracement, profit taking effect. All right, so that could be another scenario. So let's take off the movement. Now we have in here S&P. It almost came towards it again. Profit taking. So initially in the S&P, our first target, or no, it will be the first level of resistance, which sits right above a level of a psychological value. Then we have the so initially, all right, this guy here is showing us that is making basically a ascending triangle, and we want to be able to measure that particular move. We measure that move, that opening, and that will give us our trajectory, our target, which is basically where we have our resistance level. All right, so target resistance level for the Dow, 2 minutes. All right, so we're about half an hour into the trading session. All right, so let's take a look at a half an hour chart and see where we are. All right, so NASDAQ, our first target has been met on that movement to the upside. Stronger parabolic movement for the S&P. Our first target hasn't been met yet. Doesn't mean it's not, but obviously it's not guaranteed that it will. Then we have the Dow almost meeting our first target. Again, Maybe, maybe not. I mean, nothing 100% sure, but hey, the momentum is to the upside. Let's see. At least we obtaining a range. We spoke about, selling Nat Gas. Well, I mean, selling the energy, well, crude oil. We had in this particular half hour a movement to the downside. Nat Gas, it was selling, but we did first had a swing high, so it was head fake. Gold, we met our first target. Target has been met. Second one, 33.90. Last long term for today will be 3,400. That now, I am gonna say that perhaps 3,400 won't be met today, but hey, that's a level of resistance psychological. Let's see if it'll get there. All right, so silver. So silver in this half hour is looking to be able to fluctuate above. Is meeting this previous swing high. So you could probably see a move to the upside. I'm favoring it move to the upside. 37.5 the target. Bitcoin, just sideways trading, really choppiness. I mean copper. Sorry, that was copper. Copper is just sideways trading. Then we have Bitcoin. Strong move to see. Bitcoin moved by thousands. So that 115 we most likely will be met. Currencies, this half hour, just choppiness. Let's see if it'll be able to sustain itself. Look at this half hours chart. This level here, hey, it's important. It's been respected before. Then for the pound, again, in this chart, we're seeing sideways movement. And things will happen as we see that the dollar index drops and comes out of this particular scenario here. All right. So here we have it. All right. So 9 o'clock. All right. 9 o'clock in the morning. Can we come in and find another trading setup? Let's take a look at a 5-minute. So we are walking the upper Bollinger Band, 23,300. Could that be met? Could that be a possible level of resistance or target? Then we have the S&P. We still need it to come and meet our first level of resistance. The Dow is getting closer and closer, edging closer to our first level of resistance. As we come towards it, will we find those sellers? Profit taking will be taking place. So we have 2 minutes and 50 minutes, 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in this candle. Let's see. Crude oil. As crude oil drops, we'll see a continuation momentum to the upside on the Nat Gas, on the Nasdaq. Sorry. So strong moves to the okay. So like so. Then we should be seeing a recovery here to the upside. All right. Again, let's take a look at our assets. I want to take a look at the Dow. The Dow is the next one to come and meet our level of resistance. All right, let's take a look at crude oil. Down. Nat Gas. Nat Gas is getting set to break this level of support. Well, it's actually rebounded. All right, so gold is doing the fluctuate above our level of resistance. It's doing a throwback to our now support. Now, will this be enough of a move to just take us higher? Or will the market just basically fluctuate, do something like this? Will the market do one of these two? For gold, 33.85 was met. It was one of our targets. So it has broken what was a resistance, now support. So let's see if it does now pulls back towards resistance and then trades lower. So where can we find that particular level in this asset? I'm going to use, so 33.80 seems to be the place initially when the market has come down, retraced, and let's see if it'll be able to sustain. So now let's see dollar index. Okay, so the dollar index is catching a bid, so that's going to put pressure on gold. So that gap up, you see that gap up, opening gap up. That's a pretty strong move there. We've been closed. So let's see if gold will break out of this range. So you find support at 33.80, right? So it's done this, our first initial, and then now that it has touched our level of, again, resistance, will pull back towards support, or is it going to continue to move higher and break out of this range? Well, it seems to be retracing. Let's see how much more of that retracement will be, and it's retracing. So it's done that. It's done our second analysis. And so now we are in this leg. Let's see if it'll break our level of support, 33.80, and continue to move lower. Or is it going to come back up out towards our level of support, of resistance of 33.82? That could be the place. That could be something that could happen. They just hold. So we 3 minutes and 30 seconds into it. But it seems that it's going to break, and it has fluctuated below 33.80, picking its head. Now, how much more movement lower will this be? Well, let's take a look at previous swing highs. Will it be here? Perhaps. Let's use that level. Is it going to continue to move lower? Strong move to the downside. So they're going to sell 33.80, target 33.78. It's looking like so. 33.78. Is it going to be met? Is it going to be met 33.78? Are we going to touch 33.78? We're going to rebound off 33.78. Is the dollar index move strong enough to put pressure on it? Well, it's retracing. Dollar index is retracing. Push to the downside. If it does continue to push to the downside, then we will see a recovery on gold. But if it does fluctuate back up to 98.5, we'll see a drop on gold. So as I was away from this, we did hit 33.78. We hit 33.78.27. So that was met, right? So that was met. We saw in this candle, in this 5-minute candlestick, it's pretty strong swing, right? No, now let's see. So this particular move right here has been met. It actually came all the way down here, and let's see how much of this move to the upside will we see. Will we see back up to 33.85? Well, first got to come back up and reclose above our level of resistance that we have placed prior to the market opening. And we've done that in 5 minutes. We've retraced, we fluctuated $4 of movement in here. Or we'll stay and just idle, just be sideways choppiness on this particular case. All right, so that doji, if it closes at a doji, it's gonna show us a change of direction. So if the direction was lower, then it should be higher, right? Let's see. 30 seconds into this candle, will it close as a doji? Doji representing market change direction. Is that going to be the case? Let's see. 15 seconds left. Still a doji. Still a doji. Flattish. Balancing itself out. And it's going to close there, right? So let's see. So it closed doji looking green. So momentum to the upside is being built. So again, target 33.82. Should we close above that? Now again, this could stay here idling, sideways trading. See what the dollar index is doing. Ooh, strong move to the upside. So putting pressure on gold, and it's continuing. So if it, that's a strong move. So gold will just drop. Let's see when we will see that movement on gold, as you should see that push, that pressure being placed as traders see that the dollar index has spiked, and it's spiking. It's continuing to spike. It's at 98,507. So it's holding gold. So you see how gold is just staying here within the doji. So it's consolidating right around this level, 33.80. Now let's take a look at the NASDAQ. All right, so the NASDAQ made in this 5-minute chart, it made a double top here, and it fluctuated to the downside. So what was previously a resistance is now a support. So will the market come down towards it? And no, it looks like it. Will it do this? Will it do that? Or has the market already just found its bottom at this swing low, and now its trajectory is to the upside towards the 23,280? Well, let's use our Fibonacci from this movement, that the candle from this swing low to the swing high to the swing low that we have so far. In this essence, in this candle, we come in and speculate that the market could probably should come towards the golden ratio, 61.80. We have 2 minutes and 25 seconds for that to show proof. Let's see. Let me show you values, prices. All right, so we have here that the golden ratio proportion should be 23:251. That should be our target, initial target in this few minutes. If we are to see that the market is going to continue to move higher, we want to be able to come in and meet that value right there. Let's see. As this is working, let's take a look at gold. Also, gold broken out, so broken down. That was expected. A movement on dollar index. All right, so since we have already penetrated our levels, we don't need to have that anymore. Then our next level. Okay, well, where this candle open, and basically we have all of this volume here. So let's see if that's where the market will come down towards, and here find support and just rebound off of it, because it has basically it's taking it 20 minutes to retrace what it did in 10. Okay, so that could be a possible setup for a reversal trade. Okay, possible. Again, this area here was a previous zone of support, resistance, right, and support. So we need to penetrate that as it does. Let's see if it'll find that level, this right here, as a possible level of support. So from here, as the market comes towards it, we will do this. Or, okay, so that candle has been closed. Or would the market already happen to find that support and now begin its upward trajectory towards 3380? So the target would be 3380 as this candle continues to retrace. Let's see. Take a look at that. All right, so we've met our initial target has been met. 6180 has been met. Okay. So our 100%, would that be something that we want to consider? Well, 23,280, again, 23,400 is our long-term target for today. All right, so market is moving. 23,300 can be coming and speculated. Initially 23,280. So S&P. Oh boy, S&P was shy. It was shy by 2. The Dow. The Dow is holding on there. I'm speculating that this target will be met. All right, so crude oil actually had a rebound and is selling off now. Nat Gas, talk about selling. Target met. Initial support has been met. Next level 2285. All right, so gold still idling, sideways trading. Silver has found a bottom, rebounded off the 50-day moving average to the upside. Target 3740. Looking to go long. Copper, rebounding copper. So copper is fluctuating above our 20-day moving average. It was pegged between the 20 and the 50. So it found support on the 50. And let's see if it will to penetrate to recover. And the target will be right around 441. All right, so Bitcoin doing a coffin of congestion, accumulation, in favor of this previous move. All right, so let's see. Just swing high, that swing low. So initial target has been met at 2360. Has been met. Second one, 3820. Golden proportion 61. Right below our first level of resistance. So let's see if that be the case. Currencies are just choppy. This is just whipsaw movements. We want to trade that. All right, so again, whipsaw, very strong moves on the currencies. Ooh, what did I do here? So the pound, yep, dollar index, choppiness for the dollar index. All right, let's take a look again at the NASDAQ, and we're about to be finishing off our today. S&P about to be met. All right, so crude oil trending lower. Nat gas continue to drop. Gold. All right, so let's see if gold will do a reversal here in this 5-minute candle, or will continue to penetrate that level of support and then fluctuate even lower, or we'll do a reversal here. So we got 20 seconds left of this candle. 19, 15. Let's see if it'll rebound off of it and then just do something like so. Let's see what will happen. All right, so it penetrated. So this setup is gone. That support level is gone. So 32.72, initially 33.73. So gold is retracing, giving back what it gave earlier, taking back what it gave earlier actually. Silver, nice move to the upside, target 37.40. Copper is just stalling, I think. Bitcoin, so it moved. So I was trading right now. Currencies, shoppiness. Let's go back to our Nasdaq trade, and it's getting set. It's getting set for another breakout. I'm gonna speculate another breakout to the upside. It's getting set for that. Okay. So we still have. Let's see. 23,280 would be. If it does break out, let's just identify this zone, this breakout so far right here. All right, so if it does happen to do a breakout, throw back to now support, and from here I'm gonna target the upper Bollinger Band. If it does something like that, if it's able to fluctuate above that level and break out of it. Let's see. Will that be enough of a momentum to the upside? Because we are overbought. So in companies that are, we are in earnings season, so companies that are going to be able to report, let's take a look at what we could see. Earnings. So Mitsubishi, still was, all right, Ajinomoto, Kawasaki. Well, ROM is a strong one. Japan Steel hasn't reported yet, so we'll still have some companies that are going to be reporting today. All right, let's see. Still got 2 minutes left in this candle, and it's looking that it will actually retrace. It's found that resistance here at that level, so we need to close above that, but it's looking to go the other way. You just never know. Obviously, again, the RSIs were overbought, so a deeper retracement into the RSI could also be contemplated. But let's wait. We have a minute and a half, and the market is looking stronger. Let's take a look at the S&P, doing some sort of the same. Dow, same. Take a look at gold. Ooh, gold. All right, let's see. We got a minute left in this candle. It's not looking that it's looking to break above that. It's just looking at you to retrace into this candle's body. And that's what most likely is going to happen. So we weren't able to penetrate that level of resistance, making that it's been made once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So let's see how much more of a retracement will it do, much deeper of a retracement will this candle do before it finds support. Let's see if it'll retrace all of it, or it has done so, and then come in and do a deeper lower, bring the RSI back into neutral zone. For that to happen, we will have to retrace all of this back into what was our first level of resistance, now support. 5 seconds, 4 seconds. All right, that's it. All right, that's it for that candle, and that'll be all for today. We are an hour and a half into the market. We saw our levels, looking what we're looking to do, and we saw that the Nat Gas sell-off mode. We met our target for gold, our initial target. Silver still in the works. Copper still in the works, quite high actually. Bitcoin. I'm actually gonna go to the daily. Then we have Bitcoin that is coming towards our first level of resistance, our target. So the currency is rebounding off our level of support. Let's see if this momentum will bring enough to for the 116 level. So the pound rebounding off our level of support, coming towards 133.5. And let's see if the dollar index happens to penetrate the 50 moving average towards our medium, and that will bring momentum to the upside. So as far as the NASDAQ goes, well, we met our first level of our first target, which it was that level of resistance. Okay, our second one was also met. The S&P, we still yet to meet that our first target, and the Dow basically was met. So the high is 44,155, and this is where we actually set. Crude oil, we had a pretty wide swing. Initially was to the downside. Well, let's see if we'll revisit a swing low today. Nat Gas met our initial target. Like I said, gold initial target. All right, guys, that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time, 8 o'clock New York time, right? Half an hour prior to the US session open. We'll try to have more information, more tools to speak about tomorrow. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.